expertise plus authority is where blind spots accelerate fastest. And so I want to ask you what you meant by that, but I think there's also something really interesting because of that though. So I see this very often where you've got a lawyer who's excelling at being a lawyer. Let's say that he or
Yep.
she is an associate at a firm. And so they're really good at what they do. And then what the managers of that person or the owner of that firm says, "Hey, let's make you a manager." And they have zero management experience. They do a terrible job at managing because that's not what they were excelling at. They were excelling
Yeah.
at being a great lawyer. And then they're put into this other position, which requires a completely different skill set. So when you talked about those two things, so the quote, I'll repeat the quote for you too, plus what I
So,
put there.
I mean, that's the, go on, sorry.
You know, unless you remember it, I can give it to you again if you want.
No, give it to me again.
Yeah, just so make sure the audience as well. So expertise plus authority is where blind spots accelerate fastest.
Yeah. So I mean, if you've got one of the problems, one of the challenges that you've got is that if you think that if you are an expert in something, and then you are given authority as well, what tends to happen is that one of the thing that authority and the power that goes with it does is that it tends to lead you to be driven more by the knowledge that you have and to listen less to the advice that you're given. It's just, there's been study after study done that you tend to be driven more by the knowledge that you already have. Even when you actually don't actually have much expertise in the area that you're making decisions on, you are more likely to be driven by your assumptions and your opinions, no matter how half-baked they have. But if you are an expert, it gets even worse, right? So that's why blind spots can form. Because you are more likely to be driven by what you know. And you become less able to see what you don't know just because you've been given authority. You automatically become less able to see and less aware of what you don't know. And partially that is because there is this psychological sense within you. I'm the boss, I need to make a decision. I'm the boss, I'm the one in charge, I need to make a decision. It is also because there is this, one of the power traps that we talk about is that, and you see it time and again within leaders, and the study after study showing it, that people with power, and even people who just feel powerful, are more likely to be led by their internal states and knowledge. So they're more likely to be led by emotions. They're more likely to be led by assumptions. They become more disinhibited. They become more authentic, for better and for worse, right? They're more likely to be led by what they want. They become more selfish. They become more led by their internal goals. They become more led by their emotions. They're anything internal, they are more led by than by external factors. So that whole internal thing is driving them more than anything external, and so anything external becomes a blind spot to them. So that's one of the reasons why. The other kind of thing, and you touched upon it as well earlier, is that possibly the biggest blind spot and the biggest trap waiting for any new leader as a result of the authority, the power, the position that they've been given, is that they inherently become more distant from the people that they are leading, psychologically distant.